This video is going to show how to perform 3 basic row operations on a matrix on a TI-83 or TI-84 calculator. Now, I've already stored this matrix into matrix A in the calculator. So now I want to go into the matrix menus. So I choose Second, Matrix, and I want to scroll to the right to the Math menu. The quickest way to get to your row operations is to use your up arrow. If I hit my up arrow, the last 4 operations you see on your screen are the row operations that you can perform on a matrix. So I want to go up to row swap and hit enter. Now the first thing I need to enter is which matrix I'm working on. So I'm going to choose Second, Matrix, and then I'm going to select matrix A. I follow that with the comma, and then I follow that with the two rows that I want to swap. So 2, 3, and if I hit enter, I see that the 2 rows have been swapped. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the calculator does not automatically store the resulting matrix back into A. So if my next row operation is an operation I want to perform on my previous matrix, I want to make sure that I choose that matrix when I enter the next row operation. So if I want to do row operation number 2, which is to multiply row 2 by -4, again I'm going to go back into matrix, scroll over to math, use my up arrow to get to my row operations, and choose the row operation that's star row, and I hit enter. First thing I put in here is what I'm going to multiply the row by. So I enter -4 followed by the comma, and now I would indicate the matrix that I want this to be performed on. So if I want it performed on the last matrix that I see on my screen, I'm going to choose Second and answer, followed by the comma, and then the row that I want to be multiplied by -4. So row 2 and hit enter, and row 2 has now been multiplied by -4. Another option is that you can take this and store it back into a matrix template if you wish. Your store key is located here. So if I hit the store option, go back into matrix, I can store that answer in any one of the templates that I like to. So let's say that I store it in B and hit enter. Now I have the option of pulling that matrix up at any time. So let's look at performing this last row operation of multiplying row 3 by 3/4, adding it to row 1, and storing it in row 1. So back into the matrix menu, over to math, and up to the row operations, and I want to choose the star row plus. So I hit enter. First thing you enter is what you're multiplying by. So I enter 3/4 as 3 divided by 4, followed by the comma. And now since I want to perform this on the last matrix that I have on my screen, I can choose Second, answer, as I did in the previous row operation, or I can go back into matrix and select B because I had stored it in that template, followed by the comma, followed by the row that you're multiplying by, which is row 3, comma, and then the row you're storing your result in, which would be row 1. Hit enter, and there's the result on my screen. Now notice that this matrix contains some decimal entries. It may be that I prefer to have fraction entries. So I could ask the calculator to change these to fractions by going to the math key. Now this is the regular math key, not the matrix math key. So I just hit math, and the first option is to change to fraction. So I hit enter and enter one more time. And now I have my matrix with fraction entries instead of decimals.